What up, Fight World? It's your boy Ego, and I'm back with some more boxing. Now, last night I was extremely tired, so I did do a video for you, giving my post-fight Mayweather Guerrero outlook. However, I was really tired. I don't even remember what I said. I mean, hopefully it was on point. I think it was, um, but I was just extremely tired. So I got some sleep. I'm re-energized. I'm back. I do want to touch on a few more things with Floyd Mayweather that I didn't get to cover in that last video, and that's just the haters. It's at this point it's funny. It's to be expected. Mayweather's been dominant in the sport for 17 years. Some people don't want to see that reign continue, and they want to think of every excuse under the sun to discredit dude. And it is what it is. It's just funny to me at this point. But luckily for Mayweather, he's sensible and smart enough to know that he has so many haters, or he has so many people that want to see him lose. So he does whatever he does to prepare. He has the ring intelligence, and he used that to his advantage because he didn't really leave Guerrero with much opportunity to have any kind of controversial decision. Or I mean, it was pretty much unanimous. I don't know anyone that is really saying Guerrero got robbed per se. And if you are, you need to just like load up a gun and kill yourself. But even if you look at the rounds, there may be like 2 rounds you could have gave Robert Guerrero, maybe. And again, that's being generous because Guerrero, in my opinion, if you gave him 2 rounds, I'm okay with that because he looked better in 2 rounds. But I don't really judge boxing based on um, improvement, or oh, because it's Floyd Mayweather and you fought him and you didn't look scared and you landed some punches, that's automatically your round. There was no round in the fight that Guerrero dominated where he clearly won. If you watch any other fight tonight, Ponce de Leon and Abner Mars, there was clear cut Mars rounds. There was knockdowns. There were some rounds that I thought were clear and cut for Ponce de Leon as well. If you look at J. Leon Love versus Gabriel Rosado, there were rounds where it was a clear J. Leon Love round, and then Gabriel Rosado knocked Love down. So that was clearly a Gabriel Rosado. Much closer. If you look at the rounds that possibly somebody would score for Robert Guerrero, they weren't dominant rounds. He just looked better in those rounds than he did throughout the rest of the fight. But Mayweather was still doing his thing. So whether you gave Guerrero 2 rounds or not, it doesn't matter because, I mean, he still got outclassed for the rest of the fight. So some people had a shutout. Some people gave Guerrero 2 rounds. I'm okay with either. It doesn't really matter because the rest of the fight played out in the way that I expected. And that's a spectacular performance from Mayweather. I will be honest, the biggest thing where I even gave Guerrero a hair of a chance is because he's a southpaw, he's aggressive, he's younger, and he has a high work rate normally versus Floyd Mayweather at this particular stage. One, he's 36. He's never been 36 before and fought, obviously. And this is the first fight at 36, which is mid 30s. He's been in the sport so long. He hasn't really taken much punishment, but it's a lot of wear and tear in your body. 1,000 training camps or whatever amount of training camps he's done to prepare for all of his 44 fights. So I was wondering, when is that going to catch up to him? Like just natural attrition, where you just get a little softer. Like Sergio Martinez in his last fight, his body looked a little bit softer than I'm used to seeing it. Pacquiao versus Bradley, his body looks softer than I'm used to seeing it. It looks like Pacquiao got in real good shape for Marquez 3. So people want to know, is Mayweather slowing down? Is he battling Mother Nature and that kind of thing? So that was one of the things. And he's just been through some changes that are very specific to who his life right now. He did the jail stint in the detention center or wherever he was, and he switched trainers and he went with Roger, who in the past he's had a strange relationship for. So it was it was a vulnerable Floyd Mayweather, and he just rose to the occasion. It was a vulnerable because there's several changes he was going through, and he's getting older in age. And based on his last performance, he got hit by Cotto a lot more, and a lot of people said that his legs aren't gone. He just chose to stand up and engage with Cotto. And a lot of people are saying, oh, he's just saying that because that's what happened. But his legs are gone, and that's the only reason. But his legs look perfectly fine. He was moving around. but not running as some of you guys call it. He was just moving around very fluid. It's boxing. That's what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to get in and out. Some of you guys are stupid. Some of you guys are really idiots. And you want to see these bloodbaths and see people who are older or smaller, like Mike Alvarado. He's not necessarily smaller than Brandon Rios, but he's not. He doesn't hit as hard as Brandon Rios, or he can't take Brandon Rios' power the same way Brandon Rios could take his power. So you want to see him just square up and stand in front of him and trade until someone falls. That's stupid. You got to do what you got to do to win. It's the fight game. This is your livelihood. A loss doesn't really look good on anyone's record. Now there's certain losses where you don't you don't look as bad. Like Zab Judah just lost, but I thought he had a good showing. He showed heart in the later rounds, which did a lot for Zab Judah personally because he's been a person who's been characterized as losing it in the later rounds and breaking down and not having a good game plan late. So to me, that was a good Zab Judah loss, better than some of his other losses, like Amir Khan loss. I thought, damn, like did you just give up or what? Um, Gabriel Rosado versus Gennady Golovkin. That was a loss that was beneficial to Gabriel Rosado because 4 months later you see him on a big platform like Mayweather Guerrero, and he's back in the mix and arguably won that fight depending on who you talk to. So there's some losses that aren't bad as others. Robert just got dominated, um, and that's really what it is. It's just crazy that people think of everything under the sun. I'm hearing stuff like Mayweather should have made this Arturo Gotti and knocked him out. Why didn't he knock him out? So he clearly said and showed that his hand was something was wrong with it. It was swollen, and even though he persevered and pushed through, and nobody really knew based on the amount of rights that he was throwing with the injured hand, that's not good enough. They want bloodbath. They want him to do what nobody else has been able to do, including Orlando Salido, Andre Berto, Selchuk Aydin, and knock out Robert Guerrero. Some people just have chins, and that's what it is. And it appears to me that Robert Guerrero has a chin. I mean, he took hellacious uppercuts from Berto. He was in there with the big puncher Aydin. Floyd Mayweather was tagging him left and right. I mean, the dude has a chin. It's not good to get hit like that because later on in your career you might get stopped. But as of right now, he can't get stopped. So as far as Mayweather, I mean, you guys sound stupid. He already has plans to fight in September again, 2 times in a year, which is something that a lot of you complain about. Oh, Floyd's so inactive. Oh, if he fought more, his O would go. Now he's trying to fight 2 times a year, and he hurts his hand. And some of you guys are saying he should have pressed for a knockout against someone 6 years younger than him that has never been knocked out, and he's been in there with some big punchers in different weight divisions. So that's stupid. If you know you have a fight in September, why are you going to try to, instead of schooling him like he did, why are you going to try to really press for a knockout and fuck up your hand worse, possibly break it on somebody's thick jaw, skull? It just doesn't make sense. And Floyd Mayweather again is at the end of the day he's a businessman. There were points at the clock where it looked like he was looking, or excuse me, points in the fight where it looked like he was looking at the clock, like in the 12th round, like, oh, this shit is easy, and he was just looking like, how much more time do I have left? I don't know. Maybe that's just my impression of what it was, but I think maybe in the 12th round he was like on the ropes, and then he's just like looking up, like he's not like he's not even worried about anything Guerrero's doing at that moment. He's looking at the clock or something, seeing how much time he has left. So I mean, the man hurt his hand. He hurt his hand. Same thing happened with Gary Russell Jr. And Gary Russell Jr. doesn't have as much hate because he's an up and comer. But I didn't hear anyone say Gary Russell Jr. he's stupid, he's weak because he didn't press for a knockout. He fucked up his hand. Why would he press for a knockout? He probably could have knocked out the opponent. But actually, the opponent that Gary Russell Jr. fought as well um, had a chin too, and I don't think he had been knocked out many times or at all. I don't remember off the top of my head. So again, let me just debunk these stupid ass comments. Pressing for the knockout against someone who's never been knocked out when you have an injured hand and you plan to fight in September is stupid. Makes no sense. And I would hate to see some of you guys as boxers. You guys would make the dumbest. You guys would get Pacquiao. To be honest, a lot of you get Pacquiao, and Pacquiao's an entertaining fighter. I take nothing away from him in that regard. But certain fighters don't have the smarts that Floyd Mayweather has, to the point where Pacquiao was clearly, in my opinion, he was clearly winning the sixth round, and he got punched the fuck out, knocked the fuck out because he was reckless. And you were in there against someone you thought you could just overwhelm and get him out of there, or whatever you were trying to do it for the Philippines, whatever happened, and you got knocked out for it. And that's what it sounds like you want Mayweather to do. Take these fucking like dumbass risks to the point where he's gonna put himself in danger of getting knocked out when he's clearly dominating and running the show, controlling the pace. It just makes no sense. Does it play on the excitement factor for some of you? Yeah, because you guys want to see that drama, but that's not Mayweather's fault. If you want that drama, then it's his opponent's opportunity, or it's their challenge to bring that out. Put Mayweather in the position to where he has to fight for his life, like Shane Mosley did in round two. Shane Mosley hit him with two good shots, I think, and had him hurt two times in round two, and naturally put Mayweather in a position where it's fight or flight. So Guerrero has the same opportunity to do that too. What else is there? Mayweather is running. I'm not going to spend too much time on that because it's boxing. He was fluid. He was in and out. He held when he had to. That's what boxing is. If you don't like that, watch UFC, watch Van Damme movies. Bah! Like, watch something else, because this is not the shit for you. This is sweet science. Who wants to go against the rope? And the crazy thing is, he was fighting toe-to-toe. Like Paulie Malignaggi said, there was a chunk of the fight. He was fighting flat-footed, toe-to-toe. He was fighting off the ropes. He shows you all the tools in his arsenal. So as far as saying he ran or something, I'm not even going to spend too much time addressing that, because that's just ludicrous. What else is there? Oh, Robert Guerrero came from a lower weight class. Okay, so he did come from a lower weight class, but some of the people are saying that, and they're also saying, I want to see him fight Canelo. So, and they're huge Canelo fans, some of them. So let me understand this. You won't give Mayweather credit for beating Guerrero, who's had two solid wins at welterweight. His very first fight after a 2-year layoff was against a power puncher who had a belt, Selchuk Aydin. He beat him, and then he beat Berto in a dominant fashion. And that's someone who's a skilled fighter who's been in there with the Victor Ortizes and different people. And he has two solid welterweight fights. But Guerrero came from a lower weight class, so it was to be expected that Mayweather would beat him, 6 years older. Now, Canelo fought Josecito Lopez. What belt did Josecito Lopez have? How many times had Josecito fought at 154? Never. He had no belt. So how could you criticize Mayweather for fighting Guerrero, who came from a lower weight class, who had two solid wins at welterweight to prove that he can take the weight, he could take the punches from welterweight fighters, yet Canelo fought Josecito, who had never fought anybody. When's the last time Josecito fought Angulo, Lara, Matarosen, or anybody at 154? He didn't fight nobody at 154, and he didn't even have a belt. But that's a solid win for Canelo? Makes no sense. So if you want to talk about undersized opponents, that makes no sense in your argument. And that's not the first time Canelo fought someone smaller. Canelo did look good against Austin Trout. I've said that. He showed different tools. He's a young fighter. He's still growing. He seems to be improving with each fight. But he didn't beat Austin Trout in a dominant fashion. He landed harder punches for sure, but it wasn't a clear domination like Rigondeaux versus Donaire or Mayweather versus Guerrero. So it is what it is. It just wasn't as dominant. He controlled the pace, and I mean, but it wasn't a dominant. There's parts where Austin Trout just couldn't hurt Canelo. To be honest, he just doesn't have the power to hurt Canelo. Some of his punches are like slapping, pity pat punches, and that's that. But anyway, you can't criticize Guerrero for stepping up. And Guerrero's the one that called Mayweather out. He's the one that's been calling him. He told you. Guerrero says he's been calling Mayweather out a year and a half. and he wanted that. He wanted that ass whooping, and he got it. So I don't want to hear about the lower weight class situation. What else is there? Um, Guerrero, he's mentally strong, so he's not like Victor Ortiz. He said that time and time again. Yeah, a lot of guys they get in the ring with Floyd and they break under pressure and blah blah blah. And he said he's not gonna break, and he didn't really look like he broke until the fight happened. If you watch the weigh-in, he looked very mentally strong. If you watch them walking out, he looked very mentally strong. Even rounds 1, 2, and 3, he looked mentally strong. But after that, it's what Floyd Mayweather did that started to take his soul, take his confidence away. And that's what happened. He took the confidence away from Guerrero. And that was a very confident Guerrero. Guerrero really, if you watch all of his interviews, watch his pops antics, everything, he really felt he has the chance and the tools and he's going to beat Mayweather. He said, this is God's will that I'll beat Mayweather. I'm going to humble him. He says Mayweather is ripe for the picking and his legs aren't the same. And he clearly found out that that was a tall tale because Mayweather's legs looked fine in that fight. And he was definitely boxing circles around Guerrero. So you can't say Guerrero is a pushover or he's weak-minded like a Zab Judah or Victor Ortiz because he's not. And the only time he appeared weak-minded is when he was getting discouraged and frustrated from getting beat. And I told y'all from the jump, everything he did to Berto's Berto. He's not going to be able to do the same bullying type of fight that he did to Berto to Mayweather. That's not going to happen. Mayweather is far too seasoned. There is even points where Guerrero was clearly frustrated and he was doing like slapping punches, rabbit punches, trying to like do liver shots, lay on him, and Mayweather was still protecting his body in the clinches to the point where Guerrero couldn't do some of those dirtier tactics, and Guerrero was getting frustrated because that's the shit that was working. I told y'all, Berto was acting like a fucking idiot and letting and allowing Guerrero to do that stuff without fighting back. Like he was like looking to the ref for savior, like, "Oh, ref, save me, stop this!" Like you can't look to the ref if the ref's not calling it. Props to Guerrero for getting away with it, and you got to push through that. You can't wait for the ref to save you from trouble. You gotta fight. You know what I mean? Create that space, protect your body. I mean, if someone's fighting dirty, fight dirty back, and that's something Guerrero didn't, or excuse me, Berto didn't do against Guerrero, and Mayweather's too smart for that. Those are really the big points, to be honest. And again, it was a solid, spectacular performance from Mayweather. Guerrero tried. He was game. He didn't get knocked out. I would definitely watch both fighters in the future. And it is what it is. But just stop with all these silly ass excuses as to why the performance wasn't good enough. Oh, he's ducking Pacquiao. He's ducking Canelo. Truth be told, Canelo and him would be a good fight now. But realistically, Mayweather should look in the mirror and just smile and be happy that they want him to fight someone who rehydrates to over 170 pounds. Like the only people they're mentioning for him to fight are people who are clearly bigger than him: Sergio Martinez, Gennady Golovkin, Canelo. So obviously, you must not fear anybody in the welterweight division of beating him, other than Robert Guerrero or somebody, because the only people you're mentioning are people who are significantly bigger than him, either taller than him, they rehydrate in more weight, they walk around with a higher weight, and those are the people that they want him to fight. But they won't say anything. Why won't Canelo move up at a younger age, move up and fight Gennady Golovkin? Why doesn't he move up and fight Sergio Martinez? Why doesn't Sergio Martinez move up and fight Andre Ward? You know what I mean? So realistically, if it applies to one fighter, it should apply to all. If you want Mayweather to move up to a weight class he's only fought 2 times at, and that's really not his ideal weight. I mean, he's got away with those wins based on his skill set, but not based on his weight or anything like that. I mean, it's based on the fact that he's smart and he has skills. Those are what got those wins. But so that's, I don't know. If you have one rule, just make sure it applies to everybody. That's really all I have to say. what's next for Mayweather? What do you guys want to see? I was very impressed with his performance. I look forward to see what else he does with the Showtime deal. Again, props to Guerrero for just being a man, humble in defeat. And who do you want to see Guerrero fight next? As always, hate, comment, or subscribe. Till next video's Ego signing off.